Okay, boys and girls, welcome to part 8 of this Autoit tutorial series. In this video, we are going to touch upon functions, what they are and how they can be used and why we use them. Just before we get into that, the shameless plugs. If you haven't already done so, then please check out the links in the description. Number 1, for the membership to the botempire.com, which gives you loads and loads of perks and benefits. Click the link to get a list of all the perks you get, and of course you get that warm glow in your heart knowing that you're helping the Bot Empire tribe. Okay, number 2 is if you enjoy Autoit and you think it's for you, after you've done this series, consider buying the advanced course, which is going to delve really deep into all the features of Autoit, and we're going to get down and dirty with all the advanced things you can build out. And number 3, if you haven't already done so, please join us on Discord, where we party hard, drink lots of beer and dance on the tabletops. Okay, and finally, if you're not subscribed, please do so and press that mother trucking bell icon so you get notified of when I release new videos in this series and other series that you might enjoy. Okay, shameless plugs over. Let's get on with today's content. So functions. Why do we use functions? Well, functions are a way for us to have some code and then we can just simply call that function and reuse the code that we've built. So in other words, instead of writing out a ton of code to do the same thing over and over again, we can put it in a function and just call that function and run it. For instance, maybe you build a function that logs into a website. Instead of writing out all the details to log into a website, all that code, you can just write it once and reuse it. So that's really, really powerful. And functions are used in all programming languages and are a cornerstone to use in any programming language. Okay. In Autoit, there's 2 types of functions. One, already built-in functions, and there'll be a link in the description that lists all the functions that are already there for you to use. Okay, and the second one is user-defined functions, which means functions that you create and build or someone else has created and built and given to you. Okay, so they're the 2 types, and I'm going to run through both with you. So one point I just want to make from previous videos and a question that I got asked is in the previous videos we've been using the include and then the message box functions. Okay, you don't need to include them for what we've been doing. Okay, I just showed you that for its good practice in the future. What that does is it extends the basic message box functionality, but just to show a message box we don't need that. As I say, I just wanted to show you how the include works to include various functions and tool sets within your bot. So today I'm not going to include it so you can see how it looks without using that. Okay, so first of all, let's use a function that's already part of Autoit. So let's make a variable and we're going to call this the random number. Another point I want to make, guys, you might have noticed that I'm using what's called camel toe for variables. This is used in other programming languages and I've kind of used it for anything that I do. All that means is that for the first word in a variable you use lowercase, and for any other words you use uppercase. Now you don't have to do this, it's just seen as good practice. I like to do it. It's used I use it a lot in JavaScript. Okay, so it's for you to decide, but I'm just telling you that's what a lot of script builders do. Okay, so random number, and then this is where we use the inbuilt function called random, and then we start the brackets and we need to input a minimum and a maximum. So for just to show you it at a beginner level, I'm just going to put 0, 1. So it needs a minimum and maximum, and it's going to give us a float number between 0 and 1. Okay, and then we're going to do the message box. Okay, open it up. You should know by now, 0 for the flag. The title, let's call it the random number. Okay, and then we're going to put in the variable, the random number. Close that up, save this, F5. What have I done? Oh, would help if I put the equal sign in. Okay, let's try again. There we go. So we get 0.3169 and so on because it's a float. We could do more work to this to just bring out a whole number or just the 0.31. But you get the idea. This is an inbuilt function called random that you can use, and there's many functions that are inbuilt that are really useful. I will put a link in the description so you can look through them all. So what has this done? Instead of writing out a load of code to be able to find a random number, we can just use random and then use the parameters, the lowest number and the highest number, and then we can use that anywhere throughout the script. Okay? So that is an inbuilt function. Now let's write our own function. So this is a user-defined function, or one that we've written, or you can import functions that other people have written. Okay, but we'll get into that later on. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have local, and we're going to have first number. So we're making a variable called first number, then we're going to make a variable, if you can type, second number, and then what we're going to do is we're going to start a function. So we start it off by putting in func, okay, and if you press F it's going to land on that straight away anyway. Okay, so we're going to start the function, and you have to give the function a name. So I'm going to call this add numbers. So really simple function to start with, just so you can get the idea. And then you have to give it the parameters that it's going to use, or the inputs. So we're going to have, and I'll explain this in greater detail when I'm finished. So first number, comma, second number. So the function takes two inputs in called first number and second number. So then when you press enter, like when we did the loops, it will tell you that you're inside the function. Okay, like so. And then what we're going to do, this is the meat and potatoes of the function. So now we're going to tell the function what it does. So we are going to make another variable with inside the function, and we're going to call it total. And total is the first number that we input, and then let's do times the second number. This will make sense in a second. And we go like that, and then we're going to end the function. So we put end func. Okay. I'm just going to do this as well, so it's a bit clearer. And then what we're going to do is what's called calling the function. So I'm going to do that and then explain what we're doing, what's happened. So add numbers, and then it takes two inputs, okay? A first number and a second number. So I'm going to put 5 and 10, okay? And I just forgot them. We need to be able to see the results. So in this case, I'm going to use a message box, as we've been doing in previous videos. Message box, then you know by now, 0 title, we'll call it the total, and then it's going to display the total, which is our variable total. Okay, call it and save. Press F5. Oh, what have we done? First number and second number. Total equals first number, second number, the total. Function add numbers, first, second, equals, yeah, first number, second number. What have I done wrong? First number times second number. What is the actual error? So look, now you're going to see how we handle errors as well. So so syntax error. What have we got? Total equals first number. Total equals first number times second number. Here, Dean, this is where you're going wrong. You put a bracket. Oh my goodness, it's really early, guys. Please forgive me. F5, there you go, 50. I put a bracket at the end here. You can see, well, I'm teaching you, I didn't mean to, but I'm teaching you error handling as well. Even the simplest thing can throw an error. You'll see what that error is down here. We're going to do a whole video on errors, but all I did is look down here. I saw what line the error is at, so then I can dissect or debug, as we call it, a lot quicker and easier. Okay, so let me just show you again. The total is 50. Okay, so what's happened here? What have I done? So I made a variable called first number. I made a second variable called second number. And then we've created a function, and that function is called add numbers. Now we've decided that that function takes in two parameters. We have to give it or input a first number and a second number, or two values, okay? And then this is the actual functionality of the function. So inside we've put, okay, so make a variable each time that we call this function. And that is going to be whatever this first number input is times the second number that we give it. And then we want a message box called the total, and that's going to print out to us this, the total, which is the first number plus the second number. And this is what we call calling a function. So instead of writing all this out, I know this isn't much code to write out, but as we progress, you'll see that, you know, some things take a lot of code. So then we just call the function called, what's the function called? Add numbers. And then we give it these two inputs, a first number and a second number. So I've given it 5 and 10. So it takes in 5 and 10, and it's taking that first number and it's timesing it by the second number. And then it's telling us the total, and 5 times 10 is 50. And that's how functions work. This is at a very easy low level, but once you've got the hang of functions, okay, and we start expanding on this, you're going to see how powerful they are. You can write code once, and then you can use it again in your script over and over again. You can get functions from other people. We're going to get into that, okay, and you can use inbuilt functions. That's going to make your life a lot easier. Again, guys, the list of inbuilt functions will be in the description. I hope you found this video of value. If you have, give it a little thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe so you get notified, and press that bell icon as well. Press the mother trucking bell icon. Press that bell icon so you get notified of the next video that gets released in this series. Thanks a lot, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.